everyone, and welcome to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. My name is Chris, and I'm delighted to be your worship associate this morning. Even though we are closed to prevent the spread of disease, we have remained connected and active. We are still a vibrant congregation with open minds, spirits, and hearts. We hope this moment finds you well. If you would like information regarding FirstU, you may contact us through email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. After Sunday services, please join us for a virtual hospitality hour at 10:30 a.m. If you'd like to be a part of the hospitality hour on Zoom, please see our website, www.firstunitarianottawa.ca, or our weekly email newsletter, the EUU, for information on how to do so. Some announcements. At this time, staff are working remotely and are monitoring emails during usual working hours. You will find their remote work phone numbers and direct emails on the staff directory page of our website. As mentioned, it is more important than ever to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter, to check our Facebook page and our webpage for notices and updates. Our online calendar is as full as ever. A special announcement. This afternoon at 2 o'clock, there will be an outdoor RE in the children's playground. Masks are recommended, and all participants will have to fill in an Ontario COVID health form. And we have some announcements from the Environmental Action Group. Don't forget to take time this summer to read an environmentally themed book. You can check out Summer Reading Book List and take some photos of scenes or situations you find distressing, along with some you find hopeful, and send them to Photo Voice, Hope in Action. Links and info for both are in the EUU or on the Climate Confrontation page. And remember our Enviro Advocacy for July. Send an email to the chair of the city's Environment Committee, Scott Moffat, with a copy to other members, asking them to recommend to City Council pressure the province to phase out gas-fired power plants by 2030. There are links and a sample letter you can adapt, plus email addresses in the EUU. And some good news. We hope the trio of promises made by the federal government this month were more than just pre-election posturing. They include light rail funding for the light rail Green Line in Calgary, a high-frequency rail promise for the Quebec City to Toronto corridor, and federal funding to replace coal-fired production processes at Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie with electric arc furnaces for green steel production. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, and however you identify, today you are part of our spiritual community. We hope you come back soon.
Words and Your Heart by Kate Jane Neal. This book is about your heart, the little bit inside of you that makes you, you. Will you listen carefully? Shh, because it's really important, and it might help you be a happier you, and the people around you be a happier them. You see, the words that go into your ears can actually affect your heart, the little bit inside of you that makes you, you. Your words can do amazing things. They can describe things if they are big and if they are little. Words can make you happy and can make you want to sing. But sometimes words can make us cry. We all know what sort of words those are. You see, sometimes words can be like a deadly arrow that can pierce someone's heart, the little bit inside of them that makes them them. Some words can really hurt. Words have power. Dun dun dun. Your words can actually change the way someone's heart feels, the little bit inside of them that makes them them. If someone feels sad, your words can help cheer them up. If someone feels weak, your words can help them feel stronger. If someone wants to give up, your words can help them keep going. Do you get it? Your words are amazing and powerful. How about we use our words to look after each other's hearts? The little bit inside of us that makes us, us. Let's try it together and see the difference it makes. Today, somebody's world can be a better place because of you. Thank you. Doesn't that make your heart feel good?
Thanks so much, Harmony, for this morning's story reading. This morning's reading is adapted from a reading called The Labor of Our Days by Jennifer Willett. What images come to mind when I say labor? Chances are you think of the holiday weekend and celebrations with your loved ones, the cause of a working wage and benefits, maybe the history of the struggle of working people to have a fair share of the profits from their work. Those are all great. Now I want you to think of your parents and caregivers, the parents that fed you, bathed you, nurtured you, and taught you the building blocks of how to be in the world. Now think of your elders. Who shops for them, goes to the doctors with them, cleans for them, and cares for them when they begin to fail? Now think of those who have physical and mental challenges of different degrees. They come in all ages. Who assist them in daily tasks that make day-to-day life easier and sometimes possible at all? Much of this work is unpaid labor, yet the work of homemaking, child care, elder care, and differently abled care isn't part of our economic system. It doesn't count on our GDP, but our society would collapse without it. Now consider other non-paid labor we do to mentor, to educate, to assist, to advocate, to entertain, and enrich the community, the country, and the world. Think of all that we do for our neighbors, our friends, our community to make life better. This is labor. A paycheck isn't the only measure of your work. Without this labor, our world would be a lonelier and more desperate place. Honor your labor. If you work for money, this includes you. If you work for love, that's definitely labor too. Our work makes the world better.
Ordained. This is the time in the service when we invite people to send in their personal joys or sorrows. We recognize these events by placing stones in water and allowing the ripples to take the messages out to the universe where people may commiserate or congratulate. A stone of condolence to Joan and her family on the death of Harry last weekend. Matilda has requested a stone in remembrance of George's birthday. A stone of sorrow, recognizing that there are still many forest fires burning in Western Canada and in Northern Ontario. And a stone of joy and sorrow. The joy part is that Ottawa in particular is doing very well as far as COVID cases are concerned. But the sorrow part is that we're not finished with COVID and we must maintain our vigilance. Some people will think this is a stone of joy and some will think it's a stone of sorrow or annoyance, but I'm putting in a stone for the Olympics. And may all those athletes show the world how people can get along when they are together in peace and harmony.
I am pleased to introduce this morning's speaker, the Reverend Linda Gunawardine. Born in England to parents who immigrated from Sri Lanka and Germany, Linda moved with her family to Canada and grew up in Ottawa. She completed undergraduate education in psychology and sociology from Carleton and McMaster universities. After working as a coordinator of volunteers for the Elizabeth Fry Society and the Children's Mental Health Center in Hamilton, Linda emigrated to the United States by marrying an American. She raised 2 children and became an active lay leader with the Unitarian Universalists in the New Jersey and New York area. Linda completed her Masters of Divinity Degree from Drew University and was ordained as a UU minister. Her community ministry is in the field of addiction treatment and recovery. In the last 8 years, Linda has been working as a family and parent counselor with Rideauwood Addiction and Family Services. She's affiliated with the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa and is active with our mental health working group. This is the 6th year of her participation with the Capital Region Interfaith Council. Linda is a registered psychotherapist and works part-time with CHIO as a spiritual support worker. Thanks, Linda.
Hello. Bienvenue à tout le monde. Welcome to all of you in the online world. I feel privileged and grateful to be speaking to you from the sanctuary at FirstU on Cleary Avenue. For the past 6 years, I have been involved with the Mental Health Support and Action Group, MHSAG. Along with Paul McGinnis, I co-facilitate our monthly meetings. MHSAG meetings are for people who are living with mental health issues and caregivers who love and support them. Sometimes this is the same person. In my weekday ministry, I am a counselor with Rideauwood Addiction and Family Services, where I provide support and psychoeducation to family members whose loved ones are experiencing substance use and/or behavioral disorders. Both of these involvements remind me how the role of caregiver is frequently minimized, silenced, and/or ignored by medical, political, and legal systems. I think particularly of parents who are trying to support their teenage or adult child to get help and/or treatment, and how they are so cut out of what's going on. Today, we want to be reminded of the critical role of caregiving in supporting the people in our society who are unable to take care of themselves, whether it is with physical and/or mental illness. As an ordained minister, I have officiated at marriage ceremonies where people have vowed to be true to each other in illness and in health. When they are quite healthy, an illness of any kind is usually far from their awareness. Yet life is like that. Illness, accidents, temporary and permanent physical and mental challenges happen. How do we respond when life happens? What informs us along the way? Here is a blessing by John O'Donohue that I have adapted for caregivers. Every time you care, another road takes you into a world you were never in. When you care, you find yourself alone in a different way. When you care, a new silence goes with you. And if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. The Mental Health Support and Action Group organized a Sunday forum on June 27th to focus on the world of caregiving, to lift the silence and to listen to the heartful wisdom of 3 caregivers, Mary Lela Argus, Mo Gabe, and Jan Glyde. I encourage you to go to the FirstU website and watch the YouTube recording of that morning conversation. I knew there would be more to share, so I will touch on our conversation lightly and expand on the topic of caregiving. The word care comes from the Old English caru, meaning burden and sorrow. Yes, caring for someone can feel like a sorrowful burden, yet for many of us, it is an expression of love. Are you familiar with the languages of love? According to Dr. Gary Chapman, who has written several books on this topic, there are 5 languages. 1, words of affirmation. 2, acts of service. 3, meaningful gifts. 4, quality time. And 5, physical touch. At Rideauwood, when we share this information with people, it is to help them see how love can be expressed differently and how sometimes we miss love because we are seeing it through only one of these languages. An example of someone who forgets to use any of these languages is Homer Simpson of the cartoon family on The Simpsons. When he says, "It's not easy to juggle a pregnant wife and a troubled child, but somehow I managed to fit in 8 hours of TV a day." Such a good example of not expressing love. Yet by the end of most shows, if you've ever watched The Simpsons, Homer is able to let his family know how much he loves them. He is a cosmic fool, providing humor and insight into his selfishness and his growing into wisdom. Clearly, when love is happening, it becomes less about our own needs and more about focusing on what our loved one needs, what they want and/or desire. Ultimately, love is about reciprocity, as Dag Hammarskjöld wrote. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and to give back. Or Samaya, the Tibetan word meaning sacred or binding vow, which is about accepting reality and surrendering to life as it is. Caregiving can be a metaphor of sharing the chalice of our being as we accept the challenges of our loved one's temporary or declining abilities. Another way to look at caregiving as an expression of a loving relationship is by James Finley, the Christian writer of intimacy, The Divine Ambush. This dance of infinite love is playing itself out in the rhythms of our life. The rhythms of the day by day are the rhythms of love given to us as this inherently sacred nature of life itself. Father Richard Rohr continues, just as so many of the mystics have taught, doing what you're doing with care, presence, and intention is a form of prayer, the very way to transformation and wholeness. When I work with family members who are trying desperately to save their loved ones from the dangers of substance or process use disorders, we find ourselves returning again and again to Johann Hari's statement, the opposite of addiction is connection. How can we connect and or reconnect when illness has impaired our abilities, our motivations, and our energies? Or as Mary Lela describes it, what is our sort of heart of hearts reaction to the changing needs of others? As the three wise ones told us in June, self-care is a critical piece of being a caregiver. At Rideauwood, we also emphasize the importance of self-care, which is not just about our physical needs for sleep, nutrition, and personal hygiene. Self-care includes emotional, mental, and spiritual nourishment. Renee Trudeau, an author and speaker, defines self-care as meeting yourself where you are with a soft and open heart, cultivating a kinder, gentler relationship with yourself, and asking for and receiving the nourishment you truly need. When we are caught up in caregiving out of necessity because of life-altering conditions, it can be easy to let go of ourselves. Being reminded of self-care can be a way we regain some balance and harmony with ourselves and our loved one. Being part of a community that supports our caregiving journey is a valuable part of our survival and more so our thriving. The June Forum reminded us how beneficial our Unitarian Universalist faith community can be when we are working really hard at supporting someone we love. During the question and answer time at the end of the forum, a person inquired how to support a caregiver. The answer was multifaceted. Being asked how things were going was good. Being comfortable with a short or long answer. Having opportunities for connection and communion, like choir, like support groups. Offering specific assistance. Caring for caregivers can be an integral part of being in community with one another. Richard Rohr speaks to this when he wrote about serving others. He said, "When we serve, we see and trust the wholeness of one another. We respond to the integrity of the life in another and collaborate with it. When we see wholeness in another, we strengthen it. Service is an experience of mystery, surrender, and awe." Which brings us to the profundity of caregiving. The beginning and the end of life is when we are most likely to need caregiving. So one of our panelists, Gabe, shared part of a poem that her husband Eric would quote. Here is the whole poem. Eli Jenkins' Prayer, Under Milkwood, by Dylan Thomas. Every morning when I wake, dear Lord, a little prayer I make. Oh, please do keep thy loving eye on all poor creatures born to die. And every evening at sundown, I ask a blessing on the town, for whether we last the night or no, I'm sure as always, touch and go. We are not holy, bad, nor good, who live our lives under Milkwood, and thou, I know, wilt be the first to see our best side, not our worst. Who let us see another day, bless us this night, I pray, and to the sun we all will vow and say goodbye. but just for now. Getting close to death with a loved one includes gratitude, tenderness, admiration, and grief. Caregiving becomes a conduit for these feelings and emotional experiences. Thus, we are reminded of the preciousness of living in the moment and making the most of every day. Being part of the First Congregation of Ottawa means living our lives with the values of our 7, almost 8 principles. The second principle of justice, equity, and compassion in human relations brings us to the need for all people to have their needs met when we have health issues and/or are approaching our end of life. Ido Peng, a professor of sociology and public policy at the University of Toronto, wrote an article on why Canada needs life insurance. It was published in the Ottawa Citizen on June 5th, 2021. Professor Peng makes a cogent argument that a universal public system would give people choices as they age from care at home to institutions. He provides inspiring examples of Germany, Japan, and South Korea. They all moved to universal national public long-term care insurance so that long-term care moved from being a private family responsibility to a family, community, and state collective responsibility. I saw this happen with my mother, whose second husband spent the last 2 years in a nursing facility that took care of all of his needs so that she could still spend 4 hours a day visiting with him, yet not be exhausted by his medical requirements and not be drained by the necessary financial costs. I encourage you to learn more about this for your own future needs and so that all of us can live in a country that supports everyone, regardless of their physical and/or mental challenges. Finally, I close with a poem from Petro-Canada. I rarely make commercials when I do sermons, but some of you may have seen this commercial, which I share with you, and I just turned it into a poem. For family caregivers, life is measured differently. 1 diagnosis, 72 appointments, 13 pulled muscles, 62 bathroom cries, 46 missed chances for fun, 213 uncontrollable laughs, 1 unbreakable bond. May we all incorporate the wisdom of caregivers in our lives, remembering self-care, engaging in our faith community to share the chalices of our being, and acknowledging the connections that we share.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in,
This is the time in our service that we usually accept the offering. You may go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how you might keep up with your pledge or make a donation during these times. We give these gifts freely. We accept these gifts gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another. Our closing reading is number 688, Hold On to What Is Good by Nancy Wood. Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree that stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to life, even when it is easier letting go. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Cool me, vidas fuori de justiça. Ternurimo, cielo portuo, source de vie, viens vers moi, viens vers moi.
Go in peace, go in joy, go in love, and may all be well.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May